After watching the first season of GX, it was pretty clear that the cast of characters needed a little bit more diversity other than what was standard for shonen and anime at the time. You had the main rival, the love interest, the best friend, the smart guy, and the cool one. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 2 starts with introducing a new character that acts as a foil to Judai, Edo Phoenix. Although conceptually this is not something new, it created a more interesting dynamic for our protagonist. Judai loves dueling as he views it primarily as something fun. Edo, on the other hand, does not. But this isn't the only reason why he is the foil to Judai. Judai is carefree, fun, and lackadaisical. Edo presents himself seriously and confidently. Judai is a student while Edo is a pro-duelist. Judai duels for fun while Edo duels to find a specific card that his father designed before his murder. One of these things is not like the other. Edo can be considered an anti-hero in terms of what he is meant to represent. He finds his father dead in his office and is taken in by a caretaker, along with becoming friends with Sayo, who eventually becomes his manager. Edo uses the Destiny Hero archetype, a set of cards that are also heroes, but look more like the edgier, dark, or more serious superheroes. The best example I can give is that Judai plays heroes like they're straight out of Phase 1 of the MCU, while Edo uses Destiny heroes from the DCEU Snyderverse. It is intentionally a darker theme that represents Edo's crusade to find the missing card and enact vengeance. In several scenes, Edo takes vengeance on a guy in an alley and a card thief at Duel Academy. Edo shows no mercy and leaves them knocked out from playing a card game. This is a toned-down version of leaving someone beat up and swollen, a la Batman. The more interesting portion is what happens to duelists after they duel Edo. They lose the ability or the will to duel, and it is demonstrated with Ryu and Judai experiencing similar events. Ryu goes on a 10-game losing streak and loses a sponsor, while Judai can no longer see his cards. Edo uses his duel against Ryu as his way to challenge Judai to prove his superiority. He feels that he must duel those with hero cards in the hopes that he can find his father's killer. What he finds instead is a kid that loves to duel and feels the need to put an end to that.
ヒーローが戦わざるを得ない宿命は決して楽しいものなんかじゃない。ヒーローが背負った十字架の重さが、その苦しみと憎しみがお前にわかるか? He tells Judai about his father's murder and what duels and heroes mean to him. There is no joy in duels, and he is following his destiny to avenge his father. It is worth noting that the pair had dueled to open the season. In that duel, Edo used packs of random cards to face Judai and assess their abilities. Edo becomes extremely confident that he is the better duelist and feels even more sure of how his view on heroes is justified. Judai tells Edo that he should not use the Destiny heroes as tools for revenge, but Edo does not want to be lectured by a kid that did not experience what he had. Edo explains that he waited for justice, but the law could not find or even identify the killer. Edo feels that it is his responsibility to become a type of hero that seeks justice and proves it to Judai by winning their hero duel convincingly. In the background, Sayo tells Edo that it was his destiny to beat Judai, but secretly the Light of Destruction was trying to get Judai in his control. Destiny continues to motivate Edo through the season, which tethers him to Sayo's attempt to expand his own goals. This leads to the rematch with Judai, who now sports the Neospatians and Elemental Hero Neos. Judai reminds Edo the feeling of watching new heroes emerge that he can cheer for to try to find the joy that he felt as a kid. This is successful as it causes Edo to think about the potential pain that the D heroes could be feeling. After Judai shows off his new heroes and wins the duel, Edo decides to stick around the academy. He attempts to call Sayo, but the cell phone is no longer in service. Edo says that he will run into him eventually and has questions for him after hearing about the Society of Light. The first time he sees Sayo, Edo only glares at him while he duels Kenzan. For the rest of the season, Edo still takes a backseat to the plot even though he is a big part of it. Let me explain. The main antagonist is Sayo under the control of the Light of Destruction. The Light of Destruction uses Sayo to expand the Society of Light, but uses Monjome as the lead spokesman and duelist to indoctrinate Duel Academy instead of Edo, even though Edo had been dueling for him in the Pro Leagues and found a reason to stay at Duel Academy. While the Obelisk Blue Dorm becomes indoctrinated into the Society of Light, Edo does nothing but frown. It's not until the school trip to Domino City where Edo makes a major reappearance to help Judai save Sho and Kenzan from Mizuchi.
そろそろ来る頃だと思っていた。
どういうつもりだ、採用。
エド、お前こそなぜあれほど毛嫌いしていたこの学園に残っている。
ここにいればあなたに会えると思ったからだ。
本当の答えは違う。それがお前の運命となったからだ。
He has a flashback where he confronts Sayo about what is happening, but Sayo asks Edo to respect their friendship and to follow the course of destiny. He tag duels with Judai to beat her and finds out that Sayo needs to be saved from the Light of Destruction. Mizuchi explains that after reading one tarot card, Sayo had become possessed. Instead of immediately confronting him, Edo makes sporadic appearances through the second half of Season 2. He is briefly shown receiving one of the keys to the Death Ray orbiting the Earth that no one seems to be too concerned about, and Sho replaces him as Hellkaiser Ryu's next opponent. The next major involvement is speaking to a random that is somehow his adoptive father. The caretaker killed his opponent and destroyed an arena before inviting Edo to a ship in the middle of the ocean late at night to establish to the audience that he is indeed a bad guy. There needed to be a lot of flashbacks to quickly flesh out the character and have Edo finish his main problem, avenge his father's murderer and take back the final card he had designed. Unfortunately, this does not do justice to that subplot as it came towards the end of the season. For added context, there are 52 episodes in Season 2 starting with episode 52 in the overall series. This adoptive father does not make an appearance until episode 97, 45 episodes into a 52 episode season. To say that Edo was not given the screen time with this caretaker to help us invest in the relationship would be an understatement. Would we expect the twist? Absolutely. But sometimes the obvious route is still the correct route. Edo learning who the murderer is and successfully beating said murderer in the span of 2 episodes does not satisfy what Edo was meant to represent through the season. As I mentioned earlier, Edo is the opposite to Judai with how he approaches duels and life in general. If we had seen more of the dynamic between these two, more of Edo through the season dealing with members of the Society of Light, and having tense conversations with Sayo, or at least more of them, it would have made Edo a more memorable character in GX. Thankfully, he is very involved at the climax of the season. He pulls a cool stunt where he jumps out of the helicopter that took him to the obelisk form and bombs through the glass ceiling instead of walking through the front door. He confronts Sayo and takes him head on. He successfully deduces that Sayo is under control and tries to fight off the Light of Destruction with his father's card. Edo attempts to pay back Sayo by trying to be the one to have his back the same way Sayo did to him, and encourages Sayo to keep moving forward through adversity. Despite losing to the Light of Destruction, Edo does ultimately play his part in Judai's overarching story. He fearlessly took on the Light and provided enough motivation for Judai to save his friend Sayo. In Season 3, Edo plays a very small part in the first half. He sees that Judai has found a kindred spirit in Johan and doesn't do much else other than watch the events unfold in the background until Duel Academy is transported back from the different dimension. He hears of Judai's past with a spirit named Yubel, but doesn't offer much other than a brief conversation with Ryu outside of the Osiris Red dorm. When Judai decides to return to find Johan, he is not part of the friend group that immediately goes with Judai. Instead, he spectates with Ryu, but they are accidentally involved in the rescue mission as the portal also transports them along with Kronos and Echo. Unfortunately, Edo is not seen until after Judai succumbs to darkness. Edo and Ryu are not aware of where Judai is, but they do know who the Supreme King is. Their goal is to find the Supreme King, find Judai, and aid O'Brien when they all make their way to the Supreme King's castle. When O'Brien sacrifices himself, they learn that Judai was being controlled by darkness and wait until Judai can wake up.
いいんだ。俺のせいで。落ち着け10代。すべては闇の力が。覇王という闇がお前に。
Out of everyone there, Edo is the only one there to provide a form of comfort. He tells Judai that he was under the control of the Supreme King and must keep moving forward to save Johan. Instead of helping push Judai forward, Edo becomes somewhat attached to Echo after he and Ryu save her and Kronos, and they share a moment together where Edo gives Echo her necklace that he had found on the ground. Once they are all teleported to where Amon is, Amon attempts to convince Echo to join his side to sacrifice her for Exodia's power. Edo is the loudest voice of disapproval and takes Amon on in a duel. He reasons that Echo should not sacrifice herself for Amon's benefit because she loves him. Echo still follows through with it, and Edo loses the duel. His last action in the season is to shield Judai, Sho, Ryu, and Kronos from Exodia's blast before he is ultimately saved at the end of the season. In Season 4, he makes a brief appearance from Manjome's growth arc where Manjome learns what it takes to be a pro duelist and to not compromise his own integrity. Manjome beats Edo in a live duel broadcast by punching him in the face with Ojama Yellow. This summary goes through Edo's use in the 3 seasons that he appears in. Season 2 is the most use of the character and it continues to diminish as the series progresses. Edo is underutilized and it is a shame. The character had a lot of potential from the jump due to how he mirrored Judai and acted as his opposite with their viewpoints while also making sure that they were equals based on how they both used hero cards. They promised to settle the score, but their official head-to-head record ends at 1-1. There isn't a hint of a rubber match, and neither are written to show interest in dueling with each other again. If you're not convinced, here's a fun question. Do you like Edo because he was an awesome and memorable character, or do you like Edo because of Destiny Hero Plasma and the retrain of Elemental Hero Phoenix Enforcer, DPE? As a Yu-Gi-Oh fan that never saw GX when it aired in the mid-2000s, and only after binging it in late 2023, I can easily say that I could remember most of Edo's story because of how brief it really is. The character could have been used more in Season 2's plot due to how closely related he is to the main villain, his juxtaposition to the main character, and his driving force in finding his father's murderer. He had a reason to be very involved in Judai's story in the second half of Season 3 due to Judai saving Sayo from the Light of Destruction, but unfortunately his role was reduced to the subplot of Echo's sacrifice. Edo could have been written to follow Judai, and it would be in character for him as he says in the season that he knows what it's like to lose a friend.
10代は僕の友を救ってくれた。今度は僕が10代の手助けをする番だ。それが友達だと僕は思っている。
Instead of losing a duel to Amon, Edo could have been the one to bring back Judai from the Supreme King, going full circle as Judai saved Sayo from the light, where Edo could have saved Judai from the dark. Season 4 did not really need Edo as much as the previous 2 seasons, but Johan and O'Brien were given the opportunity to help Judai against the Agents of Darkness. Edo could have been given some time as well. Even though I've grown to very much enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, it doesn't make it safe from being examined critically. Edo is an example of anime characters that are underutilized and short-sighted in writing along with wasted potential. Should GX ever get a movie like Duel Monsters or 5Ds, I hope that Edo is given his own proper send-off. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. What's your favorite Edo/Aster Phoenix duel or moment? And why is Destiny Hero Celestial the coolest hero card ever? Fight me in the comments, or watch some of the other videos. Until next time.
Hear me, Schmaden?